Hello, 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 guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Therapist Pray 2. This is episode 8, and I have the immense pleasure of speaking with one of my line sisters today. Miss Pam Lee is going to have a conversation with us on today. I'm super excited to introduce Pam to you guys. Obviously, I didn't know her prior to a year ago. It was definitely a pleasure meeting her and being a part of this organization with her. She brings so much class and light and joy, and my God, her smile is contagious. She's a beautiful soul inside and out, and we are going to have a conversation with her on today. What inspired me to have this conversation with Pam is that she is inspiring the world through motivational speaking and encouragement, guys. I didn't even know what she did until today. But in addition to what she does in social media platforms, she's touched thousands of lives. But she's also a speech pathologist. And it all makes sense, like I told her, because she speaks so eloquently and she speaks with class and with grace, and I'm just super excited about this conversation. I'm rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Pam, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to us. But before that, I did ask her, was there any motivational quotes or any mantras or affirmations that she absolutely loves? And that's how we're going to go ahead and lead into this podcast. She said, I am evolving, I am learning, I am healing, I am stepping into what God is shaping me to be. I have a heart to invite others to do the same. So, Pam, talk to us about who you are, what do you do, and why this mantra. I love it.
Well, first of all, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I have to look around and see if you were talking about me, so thank you.
You're
but
welcome.
I am Pamela Lee. I am a speech language pathologist, and I'm also a motivational speaker. And I have always wanted to give people the voice of communication. So, speech language pathology is not only about speaking. We work with memory, problem solving, safety awareness. When people have strokes and have swallowing disorders, we do a lot. We work from the lungs up. But where the lungs are, that is your breath support. That is where you get the breath support that you need to speak, to communicate, to vocalize. And I am a true believer in giving people a voice, a way to speak, but to also live the way that they want to live, to go after the things that they want to go after, to motivate them and inspire people to be who they want to be, live how they want to live, speak how they want to speak, but beyond that, just motivate people to go after what they want.
Awesome. So, was there anything in particular that you would say inspired you to use your voice, not just clinically, but also to uplift others and encourage others? Was there anything in particular?
Well, I always wanted to help others. I knew I wanted to work in the healthcare field. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But when my daughter was born, and a lot of newborns, they fail their hearing screenings, but she continued to fail one hearing screening after the other. And so that's what made me choose the field of speech language pathology, because it goes hand in hand with audiology, with people who, with hearing aids and helping people communicate with hearing loss. And my mom was an evangelist. And no, I do not want to be an evangelist.
Okay, you got that voice, though. You got that voice, but
being an evangelist is not for me. However, I know I will continue to uphold her legacy, walk in her shoes in a different manner, but that's still to uplift others. My mom was very inspirational. She uplifted everybody, and that is my purpose in this world to do. Just not on the same platform as the pulpit.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Awesome. So how would you say communication impacts mental health and emotional health?
Well, communication is kind of like the heart of everything that we do, like being able to communicate your needs verbally, non-verbally, has a lot to, it impacts every.
Thanks, Pam. So, how do you help your clients find their voice, both literally and emotionally?
Okay, so with speech therapy, we do more than voice. So when I speak of voice, I'm going to speak about the whole of speech therapy. So I help my patients and clients find their voice. If it's memory, so if I have a patient with dementia, it's giving them strategies to be able to recall, like use your phone, use visual aids, use environmental aids. If it's swallowing, sometimes I have patients that come in on a puree diet, which puree is everything looks like mashed potatoes or pudding, even your meat. So it's rehabilitating the oral motor mechanism or the swallow function to be able to have my patients be able to chew, to drink again. Finding a voice. Sometimes I have patients with aphasia, which after a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, they may not be able to, they know what they want to say, they just cannot find the words to say it. And it's so frustrating to them. So I help them find the words. I give them strategies to be able to describe what they're talking about, gesture what they're talking about, but just to be able to communicate one word or find that word, you see the spark in their eyes that they're actually able to communicate. So that's literally, but helping people figuratively will be like my Minute Mondays, is giving them an encouraging word for the week. So I just try to touch upon conversations that I've had during the week with people, and that's really what inspires my Minute Mondays. So somebody, we might just be talking about growing out of certain situations, not being who you were, and that will spark a Minute Monday. So that's me giving somebody the voice or the inspiration to act on some things that they may be sitting on. And even me, a lot of times my Minute Mondays are for me, not all of them, but a lot of them are like things that I need to do. I'm talking to myself as I talk to everybody else. So that's the figuratively aspect of that.
And I love it. How long ago? Because I mean, I think I've noticed the Minute Mondays, over the last couple of months. So I don't know if I just missed some or this is something new for you that you're exploring. And we absolutely love it. And I know you're touching so many souls in so many different ways. How long have you been doing Minute Mondays?
So I started Minute Monday, I believe this is 2026, maybe 2023, but they were written. I wasn't doing videos.
Oh.
So I took a hiatus, and then I started again this year, and that's where the videos come from. So I started again last year. I started last year in October and started doing the videos because everybody's doing videos now, so I had to get with the program. But my purpose is to inspire others with those videos.
And you definitely do inspire. I'm sure your written Minute Mondays were also marvelous, but to see your face, to see your smile, like it literally is contagious and it's so inspiring and so encouraging. And what would you say has been, since doing the video ones, what would you say has been the most impactful feedback that you've actually received from one of your messages that you actually blessed us with?
It's the people that watch them that I had no clue were watching.
Wow.
So I've had people reach out to me via Messenger. I've had people, because TikTok, I don't know what kind of algorithm they're on, but you can see people's videos that you don't know. So I've had people that I haven't talked to in years reach out, or even at work that in real life, other than work, we would not cross, have been like, I saw a video of you talking, and I just want to let you know you really blessed me. You need to continue to do that. And it's kind of like, I just get up there and just talk about random things that I've talked about during the week or anything that's on my heart. And I just had no clue that people were actually watching and listening to them and being touched. So that's the most inspirational part for me.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about faith and what you do as well. How does your faith influence your work as both a speech pathologist and a motivational speaker?
That faith is huge because I have to have faith to be able to work with people with disabilities, with deficits, and be able to encourage them and work with them scientifically and medically to help rehabilitate them. So my faith has to come through God to work through me. Let me be a vessel of help, of assistance, so that I can help this person get back to their prior level of function, or as close to their prior level of functioning as possible. And then as far as encouraging people, if I can't tell you to have faith if I don't have faith myself.
Right.
I can't encourage you if I'm not encouraged myself.
Absolutely.
If I don't have a source to encourage you from, and it has to be faith.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Pam. That's good. So what would you say to someone who actually, feels silenced, or they feel overlooked, or afraid to speak up about anything? Like, what would you say to them? What would you encourage them to do or say to face those barriers?
And again, I love giving a voice to the voiceless. So we have to look within ourselves to say, why do I feel like that? Or ask ourselves, why do I feel like that? Where is this silence coming from? And so that's a lot of soul searching. I can't tell you how to soul search.
Mm-hmm.
That's between you and your higher power, your Lord, your therapist. I can't tell you how to soul search, but we all have a voice. We all have a right to be heard. And even the first whisper is a start to say, hey, I have something to say. I belong here. But even if you just have to start with a whisper, saying it. I know we're so like, we don't want to be confrontational, or we don't, when we're seen, we feel awkward. But be seen, be you, and be too, TOO.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people are like, you too this, you too. I am. But this is what you're gonna get from me. You're gonna hear me. You're gonna hear this voice from me. But that's just me and my personality. But for the person that is afraid to speak up, start with a whisper.
I love it. From the whispering to the B2. Like, Pam, I see that on a shirt, girl. I see it on a shirt. I see it on a book cover. I see it on a positive affirmation book. B2, yes.
B2. Like, whatever it is, B2. Because you're going to hear me.
and I love it. I love it. So now let's all right. So as a therapist, right, I know that, there's such a thing as countertransference and transference, and all the lives that I touch, and hearing all the stories and the controversies and the chaos in people's lives that I come into contact with every day. I know that in order for me to sustain, right, I have to be able to pour back into myself so that I'm able to pour into others, because we would all fall apart. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. What do you do, Pam, to pour back into yourself so that you can stay encouraged and motivated to continue to bless people through your voice?
To pour back into myself, and I am a huge proponent of being not necessarily selfish, but self-forward. Like, like, I'm all about me. So I like to get massages. I'm a water person. So I like to, if I'm out of town, or if I'm here at home, I'll go up to the pool and just sit by the water. I love to be on somebody's beach, but more realistically, for me to pour into myself, it's just hanging out with my friends, talking with my friends, and having massages. That's what I do. And resting. I'm a proponent of sleep.
And sleep is important. Sleep is important. And sometimes we lack that very component of our lives. And then, of course, we know that it's going to affect so many other areas of our lives, because we're out here doing this for that one and taking care of this one and pouring into that one and blessing that one and attending this event and attending that event, and next thing you know, you're exhausted and you're fatigued and you're overwhelmed because you're lacking
Yes.
sleep.
And I know me. I do have a cutoff. I don't have a problem with saying no. I'm not doing it. I'm not going because I'm not. When I'm tired, I'm like a 2-year-old. I'm very cranky, and it's best for me to remove myself versus trying to make other people happy and going and going and going. So I have learned that over the years.
I love that boundary, and I'm sure you haven't always had that boundary. I love that you
No,
say I've learned this over the years.
After 40, it just took on a whole new route. After 40, that's what I was like, you know what? No, I'm not, no.
Okay, and
No
I'm glad you did.
Into my vocabulary when I turned 40, because you can't please everybody, and even when you try, somebody's not going to be happy, so you got to make yourself happy.
Absolutely.
And if saying no and staying home is what makes you happy, I'm all for it.
All for it.
All the time.
All for it. Absolutely. What are 3 practical ways someone can improve their communication skills starting today? So if we got people listening, they tune in, they lack communication, they find themselves being pretty passive or timid, they struggle to have that whisper, right? They're struggling with being assertive, setting those boundaries. Any practical ways that you can suggest or just put out there that would help improve communication?
Improve communication. Okay, well, one, if people lack us, being assertive, ask somebody if they could speak to them in private. Don't try to speak to somebody in a room full of people. If you feel like you're going to whisper or you feel like you're going to hold back because other people are around, ask to speak to people in private. Moreover than that, write your thoughts down. A lot of times we don't say what we want to say because we didn't get a chance to say what we needed to say because the conversations go sideways, they drift. So if you write your thoughts out and then actually email it or give it to the person, or you just have your bullet points when you want to speak. Because that's me. I'm a writer. I love to write. If I don't write it, I'll probably miss it.
That's a good point. I love that, though. Writing the thoughts down. It does give you time to process your thoughts as well.
And it helps you not forget what you want to say. And so I just have 2 for now, but yeah.
Oh, that's great, though. I love it. I love it. So if I were to come to you today and I feel like I am struggling, with communicating with someone or okay, let's just take our sisterhood, for example, right? So if we, there's some discrepancy or I'm just struggling to communicate a particular issue or concern with one of my line sisters, because I feel like I don't have a voice because it could be past experiences showed me I didn't have a voice, or I felt invalidated, or I've always felt unheard, so I'm just the quiet one in the corner. But this issue is brewing. It's brewing, but I feel like I don't have a voice. Is there anything you can speak to, especially when it relates to sisterhood, about breaking through that particular barrier?
One, speak to the person directly. Again, pull them to the side. So if you have an issue with somebody, don't bring it to the group.
Right.
Bring it to that person. And then when you bring it to that person, come as humbly as you can, so there'll be no discrepancies in what she said, had an attitude with me, or just discrepancies of where you're coming from. Because as sisters, we should be able to talk to one another, share our feelings with one another without, one, being disrespectful. 2, we should be able to hear the other person's point of view. And 3, not take everything so being sensitive about the situation. So if I said something to offend you and I didn't mean to, you should be able to come to me and say, hey, Pam, can I talk to you? You said this, and my background, I know you don't know me like that, but my background, I've been hurt like this, blah, blah. And I should be able to say, you know what, Rose? I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I did not mean to offend you in any way. So as sisters, we should be able to talk to one another. So I just say pull them to the side as nicely as you can.
Yeah.
And tell them what the issue is before I mean we're bringing the issue to somebody else and then getting back to that person before you can even speak to that person.
Right, exactly.
And at this point, we're all adults too. We should be able to communicate with one another. But I get some people have been silenced. But at this big age, we should be able to communicate what we feel and be heard by the other person.
Exactly. Thank you. That's some great points. That's some great tips. And I think that is a part of adulting. It's a part of effective communication, and also recognizing that you could express yourself in a way where the person on the receiving end may feel a type of way, but remembering we're not in control of their feelings and emotions, right? As long as you're being respectable, you're being mannerable, but you're asserting yourself and you're setting boundaries or addressing concerns, you're not in control how the other person receives it, as long as you're out of love and you're being respectful, right? Say what you need to say, and they let them process those emotions however they need to, through prayer, through therapy, whatever. But I love those points. I know we're coming to a close, but I did want to get somewhat personal and ask you, how did you find a struggle, or did you find yourself silenced after losing your dad, most recently getting back into your Minute Monday? Did it have an impact on you in a positive or negative way?
Did I find myself silenced? No, you could never silence me.
Snap, snap, snap.
And I am working on lowering my vocal intensity, because I am loud. I am loud, 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 loud. I didn't feel myself silenced. It was just dealing with the business of laying him to rest and laying him to rest properly. I didn't have time to really do the Minute Money, because I know a lot of people say, well, just record a lot of them and put them out, but mine are pretty much, conversations that I've had during the week. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to speak about that. So it was dealing with the business of properly laying him to rest. And once I did that, because a lot of people didn't know, he went into the hospital December 30th, New Year's Eve, going into 2026. So that whole month I was with him during his illness and transitioning and planning a funeral. So it was all about him. So, and I did not have any time to do anything recreational.
Absolutely. And again, sorry for your loss. And
thank you.
You're a very smart, intelligent young woman, so I know that you're taking care of yourself, both mentally, physically, but also, spiritually, emotionally, in all those areas. And you have 66 sisters for sure to reach out to.
Do.
And I'm sure everybody.
Y'all showed up and showed out for me, and I appreciate each and every one of you.
I love it. I love it. So is there anything you would like to leave with our listeners today, Pam?
I know all of us, we go through dark times, and sometimes the dark times just seem so long, and like we're in this waiting season, and we don't know how we're going to get out of this waiting season. But if you look back over your life and you see where you are today versus where you used to be, it has always worked out. You might not be where you want to be at this moment. You might be in that dark spot, but just remember you were in a dark spot before, and when you look back, how you got over it. It could have been support. It could have been it could have been a number of things. Medication. It could have been friends. It could have been parents. It could have been getting away.
Mm-hmm.
But you're here today. So
that's deep. That's deep. Now, you're great, and like I said, you inspire so many people, and I'm sure some of my listeners who aren't familiar with you or Minute Monday would love to find you and see where can I hear all about this Pam and her Minute Mondays. Where can I find this queen? Can you give us your handles? Where can we find you? How can we listen to you?
TikTok. I always post on TikTok, and it's Better You CC. BetterYouCC on TikTok, and on Instagram, Better You CC again, and Facebook. I think it's just my name, Guillory Lee.
Okay.
On Facebook. That's where I'm at. But the best way to see Minute Monday is going to be on TikTok.
Oh, on TikTok. Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Better
awesome.
UCC.
Well, it was a pleasure. I definitely
thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining in this conversation. I know it's a conversation that the listeners will absolutely love and adore, and I'm sure someone will be able to take something from something that you said, will bless their heart and their spirit in some way, somehow. But thank you so much. Listeners, thanks for having Pam today. We appreciate it. And that is going to close out our episode 8 of Therapist Pray 2. And I'll see you guys on next week. Thanks, Pam. Have a blessed one.
Thank you. You too.